What's happening, fam? What's happening? What's going on? How we doing, Spike? I see you. I see you. I see you. I see you, man. Good evening to you also. Hey, fam, how we doing? How we doing? How we doing? I hope everybody had a awesome day. I would definitely have to say today was a better day for me than yesterday. Yesterday didn't go off too well for me. But, hey, I'm still here. I'm still smiling. It's all good. But I just wanted to jump in here real quick and again, say I hope everybody had an awesome day. Everything's good on this side so far. I hope everything's good on your side also. Go ahead and share this out, please. Share it out. And again, you know, I'm all happy because I think I'm somebody now because I'm on YouTube. Also, check out the YouTube channel also with this here whole situation. Hey, people, you know what? We're just going to jump right into this. Like I told you guys, I was going to have Brad Kohler here on Friday night. We're going to sit down and have a good time. Hello, first time. Oh, I got a Jennifer. First time watch. Well, thank you, Jennifer, for hanging out with us tonight. I hope we say something that interests you to keep coming back. And go check out the YouTube also. But, hey, this is what I'm going to do for you because I've got a rant that I got to get off. I got to get off my chest tonight. But before I do that, I'm going to shut my mouth and I'm going to give Brad the opportunity to introduce himself to those who don't know this man and let you all know a little bit about him. So I'm going to shut up and it's his mic. Go.
Hi, everybody. My name is Brad Kohler. I'm former UFC fighter. I fought in the cages for many years all over the world. Was a wrestler before that. I'm originally from Ohio. So, Jim Jordan, J.D. Vance. I'm an Ohio boy, too. I've been in Minnesota about 30 years. Currently run 4 Freddy's restaurants over there. Maple Grove is where I'm mostly at. You can come in anytime during the day. I'm usually right there in the front greeting people. I love servicing people and manufacture my own boxing products, as well as I love personal training people. So I'm pretty much anything to do with servicing people, helping people is what I enjoy doing. And been friends with Tim now for about 3 years and growing myself and my network in the Republican Party and politics here in Minnesota since 2021. I got involved when my gym was forced to close down like most others were, or all others were during COVID, and also the churches and whatnot. And I remember back feeling very frustrated when that happened. I said, I'm going to run for governor. This is some very bad decision-making going on. And, people looked at me and like, who would want to be governor? And I said, well, there's just a lot of bad decisions being made. And so I said that back in 21 and started getting petitions signed about it. And then met with the Republican Party, told them about my story because I do have a felony background. 2 decades ago, I got in some trouble, which we'll talk about here on the show. And I want to be transparent about that. Although I've been on hundreds of podcasts since 2012, talked about this. I've spoken in prisons, halfway houses. I wrote a book about it called Prime by Brad Kohler. It's on Amazon Kindle. The proceeds go towards Parkinson's research. And so I wanted to talk about when this happened and how I turned my life around to be a person of that gives and helps and make my life valuable and worth something. So I did that. But when my gym closed, I was very frustrated about that. And so were a lot of my clients. So I got into it. Republican Party kind of embraced me a little bit there, guided me a little bit. And I ran for state senate in District 38. Thought I ran a pretty good campaign. Learned a lot. Immediately went to run for Congress, and then I eventually conceded to Tad Jude in CD3 over here.
We're gonna get into that part.
Okay.
We're gonna get into that part
Okay.
there. But let me do this here.
Yeah.
Jennifer just said something
Okay.
that to me is very, very interesting in what she just said. So Jennifer said, we need a governor here in Minnesota that has common sense and is street wise. Well, Jennifer, watch this here. The governor would have the common sense. The lieutenant governor would have the street wise. This is the reason why I looked at Brad and said, even though he pushes the Republican Party like no other, I don't push y'all. If you know who I am, you realize that I don't push the Republicans and I don't push the Democrats at all, because neither party actually does anything for us. Okay, I'm not a Donald Trumper at all, just like I wasn't a Joe Bidener at all. But two people don't always have to see the same side of the wheel to get things done. I'm streetwise, very, very streetwise. I grew up in the streets. I understand what the streets are, right? Like she said, two birds with one stone. Exactly. This is a businessman. He runs his own business. So I believe that he would know how to run Minnesota. I mean, you voted in a school teacher who hasn't a clue, and he showed us. If y'all don't realize right now that Tim Walz had no business being a governor, running this state, no business. If y'all don't realize that right now, something's wrong with you, Brad.
A lot of us. We have failed Minnesota in electing our leaders right now, and I'm not just talking about Tim Walz. We have a congresswoman went into office worth about $100 and some $1,000, and now she's worth over $83 million. I got to tell you what, I've been in business a long time, and I've made my share of failures. Okay, and I like to tell people that I went to the school of hard knocks because I come from the street too, but I worked my way through, and yeah, I went to college, but I went to the school of hard knocks, and my degrees are in broke, homeless, and hungry, and my PhD is in failing, and my master's is in success because I don't quit. Now, taking that as a businessman, if I'd have thought going to Congress and I could make $83 million, I'd have done this years ago.
Thank you very much.
Okay, this is ridiculous.
You and me both.
But I mean,
I'm like, dude.
and that's just one of many. I mean, I heard of $5 trillion being found today by Elon Musk, and people are outraged about that. I mean, yes, I have a criminal background from 2 decades ago.
Well, let's get into that, Brad.
And
let's you brought it up.
Yeah,
let's get into it so we can clear
Yeah.
So we're going to clear this up, and then we're going to be done with it. We're not even going to talk about it no more. We're not. It's just not going to happen. So I heard about it because there was I call him an op, a Republican op, who put it out on my GitHub going, this guy is blah, 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 right? He's a felon.
Yeah. No, I'm not. There's a difference, okay?
Okay.
And a felon is a person who is currently a felon, a person who has redeemed himself. And, I came to I got to tell you, first, let me go into this story, because knowing that with my background would come out, and I got to tell you, if anyone thinks I'm not a smart person, you better think again and look at my background. I may not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm a guy who figures things out. And if you thought that I had no idea that this would not come out, you're wrong. But I believe, like you said, the truth will set you free. And so when these things happen in my life, I knew I was a target of a prosecutor. I knew I was going to be a target of the police because, and I shouldn't say the police, I'm sorry, but the court system. The police are cool. Actually, the police were better than anything else because they kind of knew me, they understood the situation, and they hear so much BS on the street. I wish they were the judge and juries because the cops today know more about the law than the judges and the prosecutors. They know how to basically put the crime to the sentence more than they do. The prosecutors and judges are here to sell you out, plea bargain, drag you through the mud, and use you as a bargaining tool to gain their own popularity.
Well, that's why you and I get along well, because you've been through the system and I'm a black man.
What? Okay.
We understand the system more better than anybody. Now that you've been through the system, you know what we're talking about.
I do.
You understand what I'm saying? So the system took you and decided we're going to make an example out of you.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
And that example came off the heels of what? What did you do?
I was driving home, my kids in the car, and I was attacked, and I had to defend myself. And when I did, I'm the one prosecuted. And in Minnesota, we don't have a self-defense law.
That's right.
Now
that's which we're going to change.
Right, and that's the quick and vague way of explaining the whole situation.
Right.
I don't want to drag this whole thing out. But the one thing I want to make clear is it's not about poor me. You know what? I had to learn to protect myself from myself and make sure that, hey, look, I can't keep getting into these situations because I didn't have the money to fight the court system. And if you do, you can buy your freedom. You can buy anything you want through the court system. That's proven. We know that. But if you don't have the money, say goodbye to your potential future unless you really want to work 10 times harder to try to prove yourself again in society. And that's the problem with being called a felon. After you've proven yourself and you've gone through the system, you become a productive, successful person in society that does contribute and help others. And you want to call me a felon? I'm sorry. Correct yourself.
But that's what we as a society have always said that's what we want. If you do bad, you pay your debts to society and you come out and you don't go back doing the things that you keep doing, then those are the people that we actually should be bringing up. Those are the people that we actually should be talking about. Not getting on social media and going, oh, that guy is blah, blah this and that guy is blah, blah that. I would rather hang around people who understands what it's like to fall, because that's all a sinner is. A sinner is somebody who have fallen and gotten back up. That's all a grace person is. If everybody has sinned, right? It's that some of us do it and it's out there. But then when we get up, it's like I said before, I've done things that you sit there and go, that dude should be in jail. I've said things that you sit there and go, well, he's this and that, and you know how they throw the phobics on you? Everything's phobic these days. I've said those things. I've not been one of those great, awesome people all my life. I have done things that I know I shouldn't have done. But then I look at it and say, look at me now. How am I leading my life now? Brett, how are you leading your life now?
And I tell you, people say, oh, I don't dwell on the past only because I know what it's done for me. I've embraced it. I've owned it. I call it, obtaining your true character, because if you know you can get in trouble and you try doing stupid things when people aren't looking, if you have faith in God and you have true faith and you do the right thing even when no one is looking, you have true character. And I tell you, I have true character. I do the right thing when no one is looking because I believe in my God. And so those of you that are out there that have stumbled and are afraid and don't have the courage to step forward and try new things that want to succeed. It's okay. It's okay that you have stumbled. Reach out to somebody and talk about it. You want to be successful. There's nothing that can stop you. And anyone who has that stinking thinking and says, you can't do this, you can't do that, hogwash. You can do anything you want to do, even with a background, and I'm one to prove it. I mean, I just want to kind of be that inspiring person that, yes, I was a professional athlete and I fell. The system came after me. You know what? I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm just going to focus on moving forward. I raised my kids. They're all successful. They went to college. And that stinking thinking, get out of your head. Don't let people put that in your head. Move forward, focus on you is what we need to do. And just go after your dreams. Follow your dreams. I believe in the American dream. And I got to tell you, it's possible here to do the things you want to do if you just don't quit. Don't quit on yourself and don't listen to negativity. It's really the way to go through this.
But there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. The culture of labels is right there along with any kind of discrimination of anything. It doesn't matter. And especially in the minority communities. And being through this and going through it with a lot of my friends that are minorities, it hits home to me. And the changes need to be made. This is one of the reasons why I'm running for governor, because I've been through this. I've been through the court systems. I've been through the welfare systems. I've been through the medical systems. And I've been through them all, and I've been successful getting out of those. How do you fix anything if you've never been through them?
That's right.
Okay. So my prison reform is going to be amazing. Not only will it not cost the taxpayers any money, and our inmates that are incarcerated will be paying their own restitutions, but we're going to reduce crime by 30 to 40% in my first year. In our first year.
Hold on, Brad.
Go ahead.
I always have to smack people's hand when they hit the table because it shakes.
Oh,
so I have to everybody that come. I mean, no, you're not the only one. You're not the only one that done that. But everybody that come in here, I have to smack their hands because they keep hitting it. When they talk, they hit the table.
Got it. All right, no more hitting the table.
And that shakes the camera, so I had to smack your hand a couple of times on that. But I'm glad you brought that part up, Brad. Prison reform, going into working with the situations that is going on. And I'm not just going to say the black community. I'll say all communities.
Right.
But primarily in the black community where we got these 13, 14, 15-year-old kids, right, that has no place to go, that gets no mental help, no trauma help, no help with the situation that's at home. What I want to do.
Would she say calm down?
Calm down,
All
Brad.
right, Jen, I'm calming down.
So what I'm pushing to do, and what I've been doing this for 3 years now. I've been talking to anybody that would listen to me, is we need a military system in a place like a totem town. So when these kids are out here doing the things that they're doing, we're not taking these kids and sending them back to a broken home. Because once we send them to a broken home, back to that broken home, they're just going to go out and do the exact same thing that they were doing before.
Right.
This is why I get on the Republican Party so hard, because they have this mindset like they think they're Richard Nixon. It's law and order. Lock them up and throw away the key. Yep. I'm not willing to lock kids up and then just throw away the key. I put a kid in prison at 16 years old. He gets out at 21. Yep. That's not. So my mindset is this here. We work on something to prevent these kids from going into the, as they call it, the school to prison pipeline, which I call that a damn lie.
Yeah.
Because that pipeline starts at home.
Right.
It don't start once they get in the school doors.
Right.
It doesn't. It starts at home. So what do we do? What can we do?
A lot. There's so much money that is being wasted right now on things that how much fraud's going on, and with the prison reform that I want to introduce has a lot of opportunities that help educate the young kids to get that opportunity to go to college. Not just the kids, but single mothers or single parents that want to change their lives. With that $18 billion that was pretty much
Thrown away.
Misfunded,
That too.
That just mismanaged. We could have used a lot of that money too. Over 5,000 homes could have been changed in the minority circle there. That could not just a home in general, but the repeat generation after generation of welfare. And my term welfare program that I want to present to Minnesota too once we're in office. To offer those opportunities to those who are citizens, of course, and we're no more going to be giving welfare to illegal immigration.
I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said exactly what you just said.
I was on welfare, and you know what? It's a chance for you to use temporarily to restart your life. I am living proof of it, so people can't say to me, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about." I do. I spent 6 weeks in the workhouse, and when I got out, I lost everything when I went through my ordeal. I lost everything. I lost my fight contract. I lost my pro wrestling contract. I lost everything, and I lost my home, my cars, everything. And because I had to go through this plane crash that put me down for a year to rehab, and then being hooked on fentanyl, having to go through the court system all loopy and weak. I got to tell you, man, I was rock bottom. And after I got out, I had 2 gym bags and a bike. That's what I started with. And I tell you, I went through the welfare system, and it isn't, when you have this felony background, you cannot get a job.
Thank you.
I worked at McDonald's for 10 years, and they wouldn't take me back because of it. I couldn't get a job at Burger King. So how do we help these people restart their life? How long do we have to punish them before we allow them to restart their life and be productive people in society? We have felons all over the state that could be paying taxes, contributing, and help reduce crime because, you know the old saying, idle hands, right? Well, we need to get these people to work. And I have a great reform program that's going to help because I have been through this and I know how to fix it.
There we go. But one of the things that you said in there that I want to make sure that we both are on the same page with. Now, a lot of things that we won't be, we just have to sit down and we'll talk those things out. But you said the programs that we want to try to implement are for Minnesotans.
Minnesota first, buddy.
Minnesota first. So we agree on that, right?
Yes, Minnesota first.
You and I agree.
Our money stays here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That's what I needed you to say.
And Jen, I'm reading your thing here about the moms and dads.
Hold on. I'm going to do this here in a sec. Because what I want people to understand, and Jen, this is no knock on you, but I'm this is someone who, like I said, I'm in the streets, I'm in these homes, I'm at the juvenile facilities and the whole night. And I know people love to say that we want to make incentives to where the mom and dad stay at home. I get that. Trust me. I would love to find a way to keep mom and dad married or dad
together
involved in these kids' life. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. But right now, we have so many single moms out there that need help.
Yep.
That is where we have to focus. Can we focus on getting these fathers back in the home? Well, then we got to figure out what's going on with mom and dad, right? If dad even wants to come into deal with mom, or what are they going through? That's a service that I think that it's there, needs to be. But right now, what the problem is going on, Jennifer, is we have too many kids that the Republican Party wants to call bad that I don't see as bad. I see as kids that needs help and needs someone to intervene in their life in some way, whether it's a mentor or whether it's a drill sergeant at a place like Totem Town. That's what I want to do. I want a military style system that we can send these kids to. And when they leave this system, they're going to be a plumber. They're going to be an electrician. When these kids leave this system, they will walk out of there knowing, understanding that they could go and get a job. Because half the problem is what's happening, Chaz. Half the problem is most of these kids can't read or write.
That is absolutely true. And all the money that goes into our education system and our kids drop, they're falling 20% a year, and we're putting in 40% more money every year. How is that possible? We put more money in, and our education drops.
That's right.
It's been proven.
Oh yeah, it's there. And this is the reason why I have said over and over and over again, Tim Walz, of anybody that should understand the educational system, it's him. This dude was a teacher. There should be no doubt in anybody's mind that him, of all people, should have had some checks and balances for this education system, but he had nothing for it. So now look at where our kids are. He's been in office. And then people are going to sit there and go, number one, he had no business. Look, no, hold on. Let me back up. I said I voted for him one time. I did. Let me put that out there. I don't want people to sit there and go, well, he must never. No, I did. And I did it for that reason, because he was a teacher. And I'm sitting there going, this dude can take care of the educational system because he knows. He's a teacher. He knows what these teachers go through. He knows how things work in these schools. He's seen it. He's seen how SROs work in the school. So why, if you know all of this, why not take what you know and put it towards the system? That did not happen. So, and then Peggy Flanagan, what does she do? What does she bring to the table? Nothing. This is the point that I'm trying to make you guys understand. You got a businessman here who understands business, who can run the system like it's supposed to be run. And then you need somebody who's in the streets, who understand the streets, who understand poor people, who've worked with poor people, who've put my hands on poor people. That's what we need. We need people who understand your everyday Minnesotan. We've given it to people. We've given this situation to all these activists, and you see what you got in the Minneapolis councils and the St. Paul Council, right? Yeah. They're activists. They don't know what they're doing, and only thing they want to do is be victims. We've tried this, people. We've tried it the way that you guys think that this thing should run. You've tried to give it to the Republicans. You've tried to give it to the Democrats, and it's just not working. Now it's time to give it to somebody who understands business. Now it's time to give it to somebody who understands the poor, and let us work this thing out. Let us make Minnesota better than what it is. It can happen. Yeah. But you have to start going to yourself. I want to work with, not for. Like I said, I hate when people sit there and go, well, I'm here to work for you. I don't need you to work for me.
We work together. Yes. You're dirt digger, mega woman MAGA, whatever. She loves your idea on the boot camp thing. I do too. I think it's a great idea. Yeah, what was that? Woman MAGA. Dirt digger. Yeah.
Dirt digger woman. Hey,
I love it.
Look, that's the only way that we're going to get these kids any help.
You know, it's time we get the parents back into our schools and get a little more control of what's going on. The teachers have lost control.
Yes.
We need to get these kids wanting to be educated.
Yep.
And right now our school system is run by a bunch of people who really don't care about your kids. And I don't really say things that I don't mean or don't know about, but I think the proof is in the pudding. And right now our Minnesota education is really fallen by the wayside, and we're failing our kids. We're failing as a state, and it's due to leadership, and it starts from the top on down. And one of the problems that we have as Republicans and people in general is we all work. You know, I always tell people, well, how do you know if you're a Republican or Democrat? Well, the Democrats are out picketing all day long and not going to work. So if you're at work, you're Republican. So that's my joke of the day. So
if you're at work, you're a Republican. Now, Republicans are usually up there at the Capitol bitching and moaning about something that they can't handle instead of actually doing certain things. That's what the Republicans do.
I gotta tell you,
like I say, I'm not a Republican and I'm not a Democrat. I'll bash both of them. Y'all know me.
I don't know how in the heck they have all these people in the House and the Senate, and we're not getting things done. And then
that's right.
And in the meantime, and again, we have so many things that I believe that the Minnesota people should be voting on, rather than leaving it for the House or the Senate. And I got to tell you, I want to bring up the Minnesota flag. That it's upsetting to me that, you know, it wasn't about, and I know the flag's terrible, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't about that they picked a horrible flag that looks like a Somalian flag. It was about we didn't have a choice.
We'll agree on this one.
We need to make sure that the Minnesota people's word is heard. And right now I don't know why they would have ever left the building and allowed that flag to be released. I would have never left the building. You'd have had a fight on your hands. I'd have locked the doors. Oh, yeah, no hitting the door. I'd have locked the doors. You wouldn't have got out. We are not changing the flag. And how this happened is through dictatorship. Pure dictatorship. He did that on his own. On his own. And I'm sure I'm speaking to a lot of Minnesota people right now.
I went to the reservation, the Dakota reservation. I spent 2.5 hours down there because I wanted to learn from them. I had a tour of the building. I had a tour of everything that happened with the Dakota 38. It was an awesome, awesome day I spent down there. But one of the things that they talked about was removing them from any type of representation from Minnesota. When they removed that flag, they removed the true people that was here before anybody else, right?
Yep.
And that flag. So here are the Democrats trying to speak for, like they always do, because Democrats love to try to speak for black people. But that flag represented the natives that were here. That's gone now. So I heard from them point blank saying, well, they removed all our representation. That's why I want
the history of Minnesota.
The history of Minnesota. That's why I want that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
That's why I want the flag back. And we should have that flag. Well, when we went down to Mabel.
Yeah, Mabel.
The first thing I said, what did I say? The first thing I said to them, right? Did I not?
You did.
The first thing I said to the town of Mabel. Minnesota, I looked outside and it was still flying the old flag.
The real flag.
The real flag. And I said to them, thank you, right?
Yep.
Thank you very much for keeping that flag up. And they was like, no, we're not flying the other flag. I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. I would tell everybody.
Yep.
Fly the old flag. Keep it.
Yeah,
Keep it.
I want to bring it back.
So in order to bring it back, basically what I've learned is I basically have to add a tree to it because they retired the other one.
They did?
Yeah. So there was something in a bill that says
Brett Favre came out of retirement.
Well,
it is possible.
Well, it's according to where he went.
Okay.
But but they were saying that in order to get that flag back into business, Breezy Point Resort still flies their flag. Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
In order to get that flag back, you would have to add something. You can add like a tree.
We can add a tree.
We can add a tree. We can definitely add a tree.
We can add the state bird, the mosquito. Something like that.
You got a point.
A snowflake or something. I don't know. But
anything to get the flag back.
An easy thing to do.
Yeah,
It's honestly, that's a shame. It was a crime. It's running for this office to me is a very important thing. As I told you 3 years ago when I started my whole mission to learn how this works, and I don't like calling it politics. I call it politics.
Uh-huh.
And
point.
I think we have a problem with the transparency and honesty, and people just doing what needs to be done for the people. What's that? Reading that too, but I believe what has been broken can be fixed. I believe that we can come together as people of Minnesota without the interference of politics and make it right again. I think we can fix that burnt city of ours that they allowed to burn and be proud of our Minneapolis again. I believe all that stuff can happen, and why hasn't it yet? It's been how long since that happened? How long has it been? And it still looks like a war zone. Why?
Well, one of the things that I would like to do on day one is knock down the 3rd precinct. That has been a trophy for far too long. It's time that building needs to go down, and we need to sit down and we need to work with the police unions, and things of that sort to find out: do we rebuild there? Or is there someplace else that we put the 3rd precinct?
I think the police would have a big input on that, and where it would be strategically located and a good place to have the new precinct. But I agree with you on that one. We need to tear that down and make that the beginning of our renovation of Minneapolis.
Yep. So that needs to happen. We also need to take 31st and 38th in Chicago.
Yes.
And give that community, that road, that street, that area back to the community. We take it out of the hands of the Minneapolis City Council because they are a joke. They don't know what they're doing. We need to take it out of the hands of the mayor because he is a joke and he don't know what he's doing. And we need to turn that over and have meetings with the community and ask the community, what do you want done here? And whatever the community come up with, we invest into that area and fix that area. First day, the second day, because the first day, the bulldozers will be over there knocking down the precinct. But the next day, the second day, the bulldozers will be down there on Lake and 38th, bulldozing all that crap that they got on the streets.
There's a lot going on our first and second day in office.
Oh man, I've been doing this. I've had this picture in my head since in 2019. I sat in front of the Republicans and the Democrats, and I told them something was about to happen. Something's about to go down. We right now we need people to come on the streets and feel the tension. Feel that. I'll say it again, and I'll say it with my full chest. George Floyd did not have to die. George Floyd died because the people in power who's sitting in those chairs would not do what was right. Period. Point blank. I don't. That's why people get mad at me when I say I don't blame Derek Chauvin for George Floyd's death. I don't. That is on the hands of the mayor. It's on the hands of the city council. It's on the hands of the Republicans, and it's on the hand because there's things that will be done under our administration that will make sure that things like that does not happen. Third day is working up a plan to make sure that there is some type of communication going on with the police and the black community. We've got to get a plan to make sure that the police department and the black community have some type of communication, somebody in there to be able to talk so we can work with making that better. So police officers want to come to Minneapolis and work.
Right. Yeah, we definitely got to support the police. We need more here. We need to make sure that they are aware that we are 100% behind them. Will not throw them under the bus and recruit heavy when we get in office. You keep talking about day one, day two, day three, but I got to tell you, all this is there's so much to do. Yeah. And I'm not comparing to the Trump administration because they're doing what they said they're going to do, and they're making that impact that I know we talked about this that we want to make. Okay, we're talking about no more real estate taxes. We're talking about lowering employment taxes, no more business taxes. We got to empower businesses to want to come back here and employ people. Taxes is a big thing on my mind. Of course, crime. We talked about, supporting the police, our prison reform. There's a lot of good things that we're going to do. And it's not about talking about it. And this is why I, like being with you because, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. That's exactly who I am, and that's who you are. You're not afraid to stand up and not just say something, but then you see it through. We make a plan. We see it through. We finish the plan. Not this, we didn't budget enough. Mm-hmm. Oh, we need more money. No. No excuses.
None.
We make a plan. We see it through. And we forecast it properly and see it done. And that's how we're going to, take Minnesota first and fix this whole problem. Because if we continue at this rate, I look at the kids in elementary school right now. There's not going to be a Minnesota they can play football at, go to a bathroom in, without having this trans stuff going on.
We're going to get into that in a second.
Okay. But I'm saying it's going in the wrong direction. And we need to be the line in the sand. We're going to be the line in the sand that says it stops now. And we're going to do a 180 and take it back.
So Chaz says, I just watched Brad knockout fight against
Steve Judson.
Yeah.
It's always better to give than receive, Chaz.
Jen, what did Jen say? Jen said in the 80s, I worked on Lake Street. Yeah, you don't even recognize if you haven't been down there since then. When 2020 happened, I sincerely, man, much okay. If you've been down to Lake Street in Chicago or Lake Street, period, because I used to when I got here in 1990, I used to rollerblade from the lakes all the way from the lakes all the way up Lake Street, Lake Harriet, Lake that other one, all the way up Lake Street to 35, and I can back in the 90s, you can read every sign that's on Lake Street. Try it today. Now, I'm not complaining about the people. I love people. I love seeing what we have. But you kind of alluded to something, and let me say this here.
Yeah.
The way the left has taken Minnesota, right? So the pendulum, the pendulum has went so far left. We're trying to figure out we're trying to figure out what just happened.
Yeah.
Because they're sitting here saying that it's okay for a trans person to walk into the bathroom with my granddaughter. Now, I have nothing to get, and I sat down, and this is what I did. I sat down with a couple of trans people, a couple of gay people,
Okay, yeah.
and because I need it for myself spiritually, number one, and being a pastor, I needed to have that. I needed to have that conversation.
Yeah.
I needed to understand them also. I not just from a biblical standpoint, where what it says in the Bible. I needed to understand their mindset and their thought. But I still go back and I said the same thing to them. You have a right. Everybody has a right to exist.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has a right to the American way and the whole nine. But that doesn't mean that I have to tear away all my convictions. I have to tear away who I am as a person, as a godly man, and spiritually to bow down to what you say. Now, if a trans person wants to use the bathroom, I have no problem with that. But go to the bathroom that you're supposed to.
Well, that is correct. No more of this man going through a stage of thinking they're a woman and can use the women's bathroom. If you have one, if you have a, you know what, you got to go to the men's room. It's just the way it's going to be. I don't have a problem with anybody. Okay, I don't have a problem with any of them. I don't want it forced upon me, and I certainly don't want it forced upon the people of Minnesota that we serve.
That's right.
And so, if a tranny is suffering from mental illness and thinks that they're being picked on or what have you, I mean, they need to seek help themselves. But to force us and threaten us to adjust to their way of life, it takes away from our spiritual core moral values. That is just not right. I didn't ask somebody to be a tran. I didn't make somebody be a tran. You can't make me want to adjust to your way of life, okay? And I don't care if you're gay or trans or whatever. I really don't.
I don't.
I'm about, hey,
that's on you.
You do you.
But
you do you.
But the protection for the gay LGBTQ community will always be something that is first, like with everybody else. I'm here to protect everybody. I'm here to protect that elderly lady who is trying to go from her car to Walgreens.
Absolutely.
Right? Everybody will be protected. Am I going to sit here and make a brand new bill just for one group of people? No. Under protection of the law, everybody will be protected. There's not going to be this racist things and homophobic and all that. No, we're not playing that. You will be protected.
That is correct.
No ifs, no ands, no buts. Because what I don't want to have happen is trans people running around here talking about we're not protected. If you are a citizen of the state of Minnesota, you are protected.
Yes.
But we're not going to break it down to just one group of people. No. That's not going to happen. Let's make sure we understand that
before you're,
because I know what we're trying to go with.
Doesn't matter if you're brown, black, white, trans, gay, whatever. You're a citizen of Minnesota. You are protected. That's it.
That's it. Period. Point blank. All right. Period. They ain't gonna be no. They're not gonna sit there and make a bill. Oh, trans. No, you are protected. If you, matter of fact, I'll tell you a story. And I got the phone call on this. There's a black gay man. Well, a lot of people don't know this story. So this first time I'm telling this story. There was a black gay man down in Belle Plaine, Minnesota. You can look it up. Look it up. All they have to type in your computer is black gay man punched by a white guy, and that'll bring up Stephen's story. So I get a phone call. Say, hey, Rev, we've got a situation where there is a black guy. Well, I didn't know he was gay at first, but they were saying a black man got assaulted by a white man at a bar. Throughout the time reading and going over, and I even spoke to the young man while he was in the hospital. The guy hit the dude so hard it knocked him out. By the time he hit the ground, he wasn't able to stop himself. The back of his head hit the concrete. He had brain damage. Oh. But I tell this story to say that I fought and I called the police department. I called Finke, Representative Finke, who is a trans gay person. I called her. I called anybody who with some type of power for this man. Then I found out he was gay. I found out that's one of the reasons why they jumped on him. That alone, I'm looking at going, this isn't going to happen. We're going to make sure this dude gets prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And if we can go over that, then go over that. I tell that story to say that I care about everybody. I don't care if you're gay. I don't care if you're trans. I don't care if you're straight. It doesn't matter to me. The bottom line comes down to it is, like I said before, you should be able to protect yourself and your family. That's why I will fight for the stand your ground law here in Minnesota. I should not have to, if you're walking down the stairs and you got a bunch of thugs messing with you and your wife, you shouldn't have to tell your wife to run down the stairs so they don't get to her while you try to block them. Right. You should be able to turn around and say, hey, if you come close to me, I've got every right to protect myself. Because Lord knows, when I go out with my wife and my grandkids, I'm on duty.
Yeah.
I'm on duty. I mean, from the time we get out of the car until the time we get to the movie, while we're in the movie theater, until we get back into the car, I'm on duty. My head is on a swivel the whole time.
That's sad that we have to do that.
Right.
The way that our streets have become. And I'm not blaming the police. We need to give them more support. We need to help the police. We need to recruit. But we also should not be on that alert status when we want to go out with our families. And here we are. We need to end that. We're going to be tough on crime. Now, I believe in being tough on crime. You know, I believe that once you have done your time and you've done all that stuff, that it's time to let them move on with their life and not stop them from starting their life over again if they've gone through their sentencing. So, but to go out and have to worry about your family's safety, that sucks.
No, it does.
You know?
It does. Everybody should be able to walk out their door, no matter what you are.
Yeah.
Be able to walk out your door and think about going and having a good time. Think about it's just like the whole situation that happened with what went on with downtown. See, a lot of people who didn't go downtown on a Saturday night or a Friday night don't realize that before George Floyd. I'm gonna get to your question here, Jennifer, about you said, Reverend Tim, do you think George Floyd had any responsibility for his own death? Yes, I do, and I'm going to show you something. But the situations before George Floyd, this is what I want people to understand, and this is what a lot of people don't get this. The situation before George Floyd was so toxic. It was so toxic. You can feel it if you went downtown, because a lot of the bars down there were not telling the truth to people. They wasn't telling people that they were people that was getting assaulted in the bar, not outside the bar. Now, outside the bar, it was hell. It really was. It was a jungle. Once them bars let out, there was literally people sitting around waiting for a drunk to come out so they can jump on him. Those people from downtown, those bar owners from downtown, were not telling people the truth. And these people was coming downtown and getting jumped and getting beat up. Phones were... There was a story about the police officer whose son went downtown. The police chief, his son goes downtown, right? They steal his phone. He chased after them. They beat him. He had a brain concussion. They beat him that bad. This is after his father warned him and told him not to go downtown. Those things was going on. So did George Floyd...
So everybody's on edge.
Everybody's on edge.
And the truth is not being told.
That's right. Nobody wants to tell the truth. Nobody want to tell exactly what was going on. But all of a sudden, Carrie Levin shows this video of these 4 black kids jumping on this drunk man who came out of a bar. That's what blew. But before that, that stuff was happening, bro. Girls going down there getting sexually assaulted. Dudes going down there getting their head knocked in. So the levels of crime from downtown was up here.
Prior to George Floyd.
Exactly. So the gangs had already moved in down there.
Sure.
They had taken over everything down there. Where George Floyd was murdered, killed, or whatever you want to call it, his death, that area was a nice area. George Floyd was in that area for a reason, because it turned into a bad area. And you know why it turned into the bad area? Because the business owners would not say anything. They did not say a word when drugs was being sold in front of their store. They didn't say a word when people were shooting people in front of that store. They didn't say a word when drugs were being sold inside their buildings. They didn't say a word when it got bad. So George Floyd went to the place where things were bad. He knew what he was down there for. He knew that. He knew taking that $20 bill in there to buy a stick of gun, whatever he was buying, right? So let me tell you how it worked. So you go in there with that counterfeit bill. You buy something for like $1, $2. Then you take the money that they give you, $15, then you can go right outside that store, literally.
Yeah.
Literally right outside that store.
With real money.
With real money, and you can buy your crack. You can buy your fentanyl. Right? Because I can guarantee you, Floyd did not go to that store.
For a bag of gum.
No, he didn't go to that store with that fentanyl in his pocket. I can guarantee you, he cashed that $20, that fake $20,
okay,
and he walked right outside that door, and he handed somebody $15, and that's what they gave him. That's exactly what happened. So, is he responsible for his death? Yes, he is. Because he was in the place that he shouldn't have been. But he was also in a place where we could have cleaned that place up. But they didn't want to. Listen to me when I say this. The business owners didn't want to, and the city didn't want to.
Well, the communication between the businesses, the community, the police, and the state, the mayor's office, certainly, if there was anything, there wasn't anything done about it. And honestly, if we were in office at that time, the riots would not have happened.
No, they wouldn't have happened. I can guarantee you.
You know, your job as a public servant is you swear an oath to protect and serve. And if we had how many elected officials allowed this city to burn, from the mayor on up, and told the police to stand down, that in itself is a crime. Again, the crimes going on before that led up to all this is really the igniter to the fight.
It was.
And you know, as a person in office, I would certainly have a lot more ears and boots on the ground and act a lot more accordingly with swift force to make sure that people are not hurt and our community stays safe. What happened is absolutely laziness. It's not poor judgment. It's just poor leadership. And
yes,
they're lazy, and they allowed this to happen. They flat out allowed it to happen, and that is a crime. They failed in office, and the crimes of this must be held accountable.
Well, when you don't see the problem, how can you fix the problem?
Well, the problem with leadership is now I run 4 restaurants, and as I explained to my manager today, when you make a mistake, it's on me. It's not on you, it's on me, because I have to make sure that you do the same things I need to do. So it goes from the top on down. Nobody took ownership for what happened.
That's right.
Nobody did.
That's right.
I would tell you this. I've taken ownership of everything I've ever done, the good and the bad. And a good leader would have taken ownership of that and have fixed it. Better yet, they'd have been a little quicker on the draw on that one. That was ridiculous what happened. And it's a sad we're still talking about it. But, it was so devastating. And the amount of fraud that they covered up with this whole COVID thing and the riots, again, is more crime on top of crime. How are we going to allow this to continue to keep going with Walz in office? How do we get him out of there? Well, I'll tell you how. We're standing right here. We started our campaign, and we're going full head of steam to win this thing. So that's my plan.
Well, Chad, you're right. We did have a huge problem. Chad pointed this out. We had a huge problem with counterfeit money.
Sure, we got them at the restaurants too. It's crazy,
right?
Yeah,
we had a huge problem with counterfeit money at the time when the whole situation was going on with George Floyd. That's why the guy at the store picked up on it so quick, because they was passing counterfeit money over in that area like it was nothing. It was crazy over there. And that's why they would do it, because they had to break that counterfeit money down in order to buy whatever drugs they were going to buy. Jennifer, yes, I did a whole hour on the fall of Minneapolis. It's one-sided. But if you want, I don't know what that video of it is, but if you want me to do another situation on that fall of Minnesota, I'll be more than happy to do it. Now, again, I've never told anybody not to watch that. So let me make sure we understand that. But I got in a little trouble, and a lot of people didn't like what I had to say on the fall of Minneapolis, because I pointed out the wrongs of that little video that they decided to put out, that propaganda they decided to put out. I pointed out the wrongs in that whole video. And there are a lot of wrongs because it's one-sided. When they start the video talking about George Floyd, right? Talking about how bad he was. Why not do that to Derek Chauvin? They just paid out $600,000 for another situation that happened with Derek Chauvin. They tried to make Derek Chauvin seem like a number A1 cop, and he was not. Google him. Google him, and you will see exactly what I'm talking about. But they didn't put that. Liz Collins didn't put that in the film, did she? No, she did not. So you say you recommend it. I recommend people look at it too. But also know that it's one-sided. It's a one-sided piece of propaganda, period, point blank, when it comes to that. I'm all about cops. Love the cops. Talk to the cops. know a lot of the cops over in Minneapolis. They know me. I've complained about the cops. I've written reports on the cops, the whole nine. I believe we need police officers, but we need police officers that's going to work with the community. One of the things that I'm hoping that we can do is get cops back into being coaches of these football teams, these basketball teams, and things of that sort. You know how important it is for a black kid, to recognize his coach and to recognize the cop as his coach, and he won't be just going, well, that's a cop. Because this is what I can definitely tell you that happens in the black community and the black homes. Those kids are being taught that the cops is the worst thing that they will ever encounter. The cops are worse than the devil. I want to stop that.
Yeah.
You understand what
Absolutely,
I'm saying?
yep.
I want to stop that. I want these kids to see these cops and be like, hey, that's my coach. The only time a lot of these black kids see cops is when they're roughing somebody up. If they got somebody down on the ground, if they pummeling somebody as they put them in their car. What do you think? Seeing that, what do you think these kids are going to think of that cop?
No, you're right. We have to change that persona of, it's the cops are not out to get you.
That's right.
They're really not. And it's scary. I mean, even I got pulled over about a month ago. I had expired tabs, and it's scary when the cops pull you over and or stop you. Whatever, it is scary. But again, if you just listen to the police officers and comply, they're probably just going to let you go. It was an honest mistake. Had to get the tabs, but most of the time it's an honest mistake. They let you go. They have to uphold the law. That's what they're there for. Okay, and what happened if someone was pulled over and they stopped a potential crime from happening? Great, but if you don't have nothing to worry about, comply with the police. I know it's scary, and believe me, I have no idea what it's like to be a black person. I do have a lot of black friends. One's behind me right now. He's part of my campaign, and I tell you what, I could not understand. But also, I have a son that's mixed, and we talk about it all the time. I said, son, just comply. Don't run. Don't talk back. It's yes, sir. Just do it, and fine. Everything's fine then. And I've been proven right. Now, it is hard, but we got to stop thinking like that and try to work together. And unfortunately, sometimes, we are in situations where the cops are wrong sometimes, but it doesn't mean you should be wrong too, because two wrongs don't make a right.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. No, but that relationship with the black community and the police officers has to be work.
Yes. And
it's time for somebody to step up. Now, Walls could have done this. Him and Peggy always talking about, police officers. They're always talking about the black community. I saw nothing from the Democrats. The Democrats, only thing they talked about was defunding the police department. I don't want to defund the police department. I want to put more money into the police department so they can hire good cops. I want to put more money in the police department so we can have that communication. Matter of fact, I want to put a police a thing for police right there on Broadway. A police station where people can go in there and they can talk to the police. They can talk to the cops. I want on Broadway, I want cops walking up and down Broadway. I don't want you cruising in your car, because I know what a cop cruising in his car does. I've been standing on the corners when they have slow rolled on people. I want them out of their vehicles. I want them to touch. I want them in Cub Foods, because that's what black people go to shop. I want them talking to these people. I want them giving out those cards again to these here young kids and things of that sort. I want them stopping and dealing with some of these here kids that happen. And so again, when the only time they see these black kids see these cops shouldn't be when they are arresting somebody and knocking somebody up on the head.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want that anymore. We need to stop that. And I don't understand why the Democratic Party did not put something in place. I don't understand why Peggy Flanagan, I don't understand why Tim Walz did not make this a priority after George Floyd. After George Floyd, they should have bent over backwards to make a better community for the police department and a better community for the community itself. And they failed. Tim Walz have failed Minnesota in so many ways. It will take us half the night to point all of that out.
Oh, more than half the night. The problem that we run into, and I'm not saying, I know a lot of good on both sides, a lot of good Republicans and Democrats that are in office. The problem that we have, though, is there's not enough of them. There's not enough of them to actually want to do good because they get blocked. What we need is a governor and lieutenant governor that wants to see the good things get done and not just talk about it, but actually do it. I know you're a guy who wants to make an impact. I'm certainly a guy who wants to make an impact. We don't talk to talk. We walk to walk.
That's right.
And we're going to do it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And we're going to make a change. It's Minnesota first.
Minnesota first. Dan said discipline is lacking in our modern society. He said we need to encourage and maintain physical, mental, and spiritual discipline. He is definitely right on that. I mean, dude knocked it out of the park on that. Accountability for one, and the victim mentality. That's the problem that we have. That's why with those activists that are sitting on the Minneapolis City Council, they love to play the victims. They love it. And like I tell you guys all the time, one of the reasons you don't hear me on black radio is because I will not play the victim. I'm not a victim at all. I mean, when I got here in 1990. My wife was here already. She had moved. Like I said, I was being a knucklehead. My wife was like, I got to get away from you. I'm going home. So my wife came home. Once I straightened myself up, got my head together, I came here. But I got here in the state of Minnesota. I didn't have a job. I got off the Greyhound bus there in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I had $13.83 to my name. I ended up moving in with her father, with my at the time my girlfriend. I got up every single day, and this is when we had the where you go on Plymouth. You can go into Plymouth and go to the workforce, or where you remember when they had those things. Every single day, I bust my butt to do and be who I am today. Every single day, I didn't play the victim. I didn't get here and go, I need welfare. I want the system to pay for me. I want the government to pay for my kid. That didn't happen. So I don't play the victim because I don't see myself as a victim. But at the end of the day, we look at the situation and we start saying, we've got to get people to understand that they have to pick themselves. You got to help me pick you up.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and hurt my back, right, to pick you up. I will do everything I possibly can do or need to do to make sure that we're going to get you up. But then once we get you up, got to let you walk.
Yeah.
You may wobble, you may fall, you may move, but we got to let them go. Enough is enough. This victim, thank you very much for saying that, Dan. This victim situation is gone. It's no more. We're done with it. Period, point blank.
Agreed. We need to put limitations on welfare, get people working, offer more opportunities for businesses that not only open here, but come here and offer employment and bring Minnesota back to a thriving state again that is safe to live in and we can be proud of. And let's not forget let's bring back that flag.
That's right. All right, man. Hey, we're 13 minutes over. Totally my fault. Y'all know I always apologize anytime I go over it because, I can only keep you guys' attention for so long before y'all get tired of me and be like, let's leave this here bonehead alone. But hey, people, here is what is being offered to you. to work with you to make a better Minnesota, better than what we have right now. And that's for everybody. That's just not just for, the rich, just not for the poor, but that's for everybody. And you know what? At the end of the day, we all have something to give to Minnesota. And that's what we need to start looking at. Every one of you have something to give to Minnesota. God didn't put you here for you just to sit around and do nothing. God put you here to put you to work, for you to do something. So, we got about 400 or 500 people right now listening to us. If 400 or 500 people go out right now and go, you know what? I'm ready to make that difference. I'm ready to be somebody who's going to do something to help move Minnesota forward. And if y'all go out and y'all start talking about Brad and myself and start saying, you know what, maybe we finally figured it out. We got it figured out. Maybe that's what we need. We probably need a businessman. We probably need someone who is good in the streets and can see things and make a difference before they actually hurt your life. And we can go from there. But
let's not forget.
Yeah.
We need to bring, a little bit of faith back to our state and rebuild that here. It's very important that we have a belief in our God and Jesus Christ. And there is greatness in all of you right now. And what I want to do is embrace that and empower you to bring that out. And we can all work together for a better Minnesota. Minnesota first.
That's right. So at the end of the day, we're going to close the night like we always close the night, realizing and understanding that we have a true living God, a God who promised us. He made a promise. I will never leave you and I will never forsake you. Mama may leave you. Daddy may leave you. Brad may leave me. I don't know. I'm sorry. Floyd may leave us, but God will never leave us. God will always be on our side. God has made it plain and simple. Only thing you have to do is give him your heart, mind, your spirit, and your soul, and you will definitely be one of his children. And we all should strive for that. If anything else, we should be striving to realize it and understanding that the God that we serve is a solvent God. The God that we serve is an on-time God. The God that we serve is one of compassion. That's the God that we serve. And thank him every single day for his blessings. Thank him every single day and praise him on everything that you ever do. Because there's times when you don't even realize in your life that God has done something, has turned something away from you that's bad, has protected you at night when you sleep. But yet and still, you still can be bad. And God will make sure that he washes you as clean as snow. I'm telling you what I know, not what I think. And because of God is who he is, a grateful God, y'all should have a smile on your face. And y'all know what we do with those smiles. We take them out and we smile at somebody, so somebody smile back at you. Hey, fam, I thank you very much for hanging out with us. Again, we got Mr. Governor over here, Brad, and it's time for us to start making a difference. It's time for us to change Minnesota, and it's time for us to bring God back to this here state. Y'all have a good night.
God bless.
Thank you very much.
Minnesota first.
Y'all have a good night. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye now.